Well, hello, hello. Yeah, we've got the little blue circle going around, so I hope we're here. Sorry for the false start. Here we are. My name is Janet Wilson. I'm from Dernier Publishing. We produce Christian books for kids and teens, and I also run Write for a Reason, which is a resource for Christians who are new to writing novels for children, for young people, and are looking for a little bit of extra help. So, just a few little writing tips, some courses which will definitely help you move on with your writing. I'll link the website in the information. But today, absolutely free writing tip all about pace. Getting the pace right in your story, of course, is vital. When we were younger, our books used to be quite a bit thicker. I don't know why, really. We used to read more, perhaps, or maybe the whole pace of life has changed, and children perhaps move on to things more quickly. But whatever the reason for it, there is definitely less description in books now than there was sort of 30, 40 years ago. So do have a look if you haven't read some up-to-date novels and you're writing for today's kids. Make sure that you do read some lots of contemporary novels for kids so that you get the feel of what's about now and what they like and what they enjoy. So getting the pace right. Of course, we don't want the pace to just zip through at a massive rate of knots. You need to have kind of the slower bits and the faster bits. But there's no doubt about it, you do need to keep the pace going, cut anything that you don't need out of it so that people aren't getting like stuck in the doldrums, kind of walking through wet sand slowly. Things that don't need to be there, we need to cut them. So here are some little tips on things that you can easily cut without any problem and will improve the pace of your story. So number one, filler words. I've got a little list here somewhere. Mine is just. That is my admission for this morning. I'm always having to go back and edit the word just out of everything. But here are some more. Really. So it's really interesting. Very, very whatever. Quite, actually, simply, all these kinds of words. We just don't really need them. There is a way of improving the pace on that. So instead of saying like very interesting, you can use one word and say it's fascinating. Now, using those strong words is really brilliant. So if you can cut out the filler word and use a stronger word instead, so much the better. So you don't need a very big chair. You can say a massive chair. You don't need to say that the lion looked quite fierce. You can say he was ferocious or something like that. You know the kind of thing I mean. So check through, get rid of those filler words. You will need a few in dialogue, of course, because you want to make the dialogue seem as readable as possible. But if you can try and get rid of lots of those words, you will find that the pace of your story automatically increases just with getting rid of a few simple little words that don't need to be there. Okay, that's tip number one. Now, the second one is to cut down on the long writerly type of descriptions. Okay, let me give you an example. The golden sunlight sparkled on his strawberry blonde hair, dignifying him with grace. Now, from first point of view, you might think, oh, that what a lovely description, but actually it means nothing at all. Dignifying him with grace doesn't mean anything. We don't need to say the golden sunlight and the strawberry blonde hair. It's too much. If you can cut that down to make it really atmospheric, and if you can use a show not tell description instead, so much the better. I'll probably do another tip on show not tell. I'm sure I've got something on the website. If you want to know anything, please do put a comment at the bottom, and I'll try and get back to you on that one if you're not really quite sure what that is. So these writerly descriptions, especially if you enjoy writing poetry, you might sort of try and evoke an atmosphere, and of course you want to evoke an atmosphere, but try and keep it fairly simple and understandable. And remember that whatever age of readers you're writing for, make it appropriate for them. Okay. The third tip is, I'm just going to do 3 this morning. There's lots more tips. If you've got any to help others, please do add them below. I just didn't want the video to going on too long, but avoid the passive tense. So I'm sure you're aware of what the passive tense is. Let me just remind anybody who may have forgotten. The passive tense is when something happens to your character, and the active tense is when your character does something. And it's so much better for your characters to be doing the things themselves rather than having things done to them. So here's an example. The dog was bitten by a mosquito. That is a passive tense. So a mosquito bit the dog is the active tense, and it's much faster. So you've got a lot of words in saying the something happened to the something, whereas if you're saying it bit the dog, it's so much quicker. So if you can look back and go over your work in progress, see if you've got any of those passive tense moments in there that you could change to an active tense, and you will find again that the pace picks up. And it's also great for the readers to be able to see something that's going on actively. So do try and do those. So those three little tips: cut out your filler words if you can, use a strong word instead of a very something or a quite something or a really something. Cut out any long writerly descriptions that you've got, and try and make them, yes, atmospheric, but bit shorter if you've made them a little bit too long, and poetic, depending on the style of your book and your reader's age, of course. And lastly, avoid the passive tense if you possibly can. There may be the odd occasion where it's relevant, but mostly it isn't, so try and do that. And the whole thing is keep the pace going well. Don't get stuck where Charles got to read a lot of things before something actually happens. Keep the pace going, but keep it going up and down a little bit, so you've got that variety and rhythm. You'll want to put in some dialogue, some narrative, as well as these beautiful descriptions. So hope that's helpful, and do come over to the Write for a Reason website, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.